What I would like to talk about today is the important question that this Lean IT Summit edition brings this year, which is how can the Lean community contribute to the undergoing digital revolution that we are living in every place. I have been lucky enough in the past few months to be working on both sides of the digital landscape. On the one hand, I've been working with leaders of very large IT organizations in the thousands of people, leaders trying to find a way to have some agility in their departments to better serve their customers. On the other hand, I've been working with small companies run by young people who have only known the digital world in their whole working life. And seeing the digital transformation from both sides, I have seen a very important element, a component, which I think has been overlooked and for which Lean, I'm convinced, can bring a very important contribution. But as always, before delving into the details, let's talk from the beginning. What is the current situation? It works. So I will not stay long on this. You have all seen that IT or information technology has completely invaded our lives. And the reason for this is that individuals, companies, open source groups have found clever ways to use technology to radically simplify many activities in our lives. Don't know, could take an example. 1, 2, 3. You can count. Okay. It's coming. I'm just ordering a cab. It's coming there, so I can see it. I can just push a button and the cab will come. This is something that didn't take 20 seconds 10 years ago. I don't know for you, but I was a heavy taxi or cab customer for the last 5 years. And the day I tried this well-known brand of cabs, I never looked back, never. So something is happening for real. And the core of this is that companies have found ways to provide a great user experience at last. And this is the first engine of the digital transformation. This is the North Star. Okay? So the first element is this one, but how do you get to there? What we need to understand also is that the fact that we have now this technology changes completely the way that we interact with companies, because we are in charge. I am now able to say how, when I want to be delivered, how I want the service to be provided, and I am in complete control. So there's a complete change. It's not about companies pushing services, it's about customers pulling services. And within the companies, within the enterprise, this changes completely the role of IT. IT is no longer a back office operation that you can forget about. It's becoming more and more the front office of the company, the major channel through which customers interact with the service. And so companies need to learn how to compete on that front, how to compete in the digital world. And it's not that easy because the customer's expectations are now really, really high. When I use a new service, I now expect it to be really simple, to be reliable, to be really insanely fast, to be easy, and above all, to be completely tailored to my own needs. And, well, this is exactly how you would describe your IT department right now, no? No? Okay, and it's a thing that's difficult to ignore, because if you ignore customers too long, something will happen, because now they know how to leverage social media to get their voices heard. And I really love this example of a disgruntled customer who, this guy bought $1,000 worth of Twitter ads to shout to as many people as possible do not become customers of this airline because they will lose your luggage. And the airline was forced to respond. So something is moving, companies have to react, and they need to do it really fast because new competitors are coming. And this comes from a letter to the stakeholders written by the CEO of JP Morgan this year in April, who says, we need to move fast because new competitors are coming. So this creates the need for change. And I have seen how various companies are trying to do that change, to do that digital transformation. The first element is that, the first component is that they will start by saying, okay, let's dedicate a part of our project portfolio to writing a very cool app. It will be really nice with many colors, blah, blah, blah. We'll hire 5, 10 people to do that. It will be really cool. And then they publish it on the App Store. And then they learn about real life. Because they get trashed on the App Store. And working on the specific case of a few months ago, I found a comment that I really loved of a customer who said, I made a comment 2 weeks ago saying that I didn't like the way this feature was done and I wanted to be different. And it was 2 weeks ago and nothing has changed. I still haven't seen any new delivery. What's going on? This is unacceptable. And who will explain to that woman that the next release cycle is planned in 6 months? I won't be the one to do it. So companies are trying to react. And the next step is to say, okay, we need to change our processes. We need better ones. And so they start deploying Agile. And I'm not the one to tell you need to do something else. So they start doing Agile. But then a few months later, what I have observed is that they found that it doesn't live up to the expectations for various reasons. Or teams that are doing Agile are still taking months or years to deliver something valuable, or they are just adding feature after feature on a product, and customer satisfaction is not coming. And so it's not that the approach doesn't work, it's that there's some element missing which makes that it's just not working as expected. So something is going on. Third element, let's use technology. So what I've seen is that people say, oh, we have vast amounts of information about our customers, so why not hire a few data whiz and see if we can, using some clever big data technology, find a new idea. And a few months later, they found that, okay, they understand the technology. Okay, finding the information is a mess, but okay. But what for? What is the purpose? What idea do we have? And then, so something is missing. But if you step back and look at the reactions of these companies, you see that they are using the same old approaches of, okay, in the face of change, let's try to use better tools. Let's try to deploy better processes. And it's just not enough. I wanted to add initially, let's change the organization, but they do it anyway, digital transformation or not. So something is missing. And what's important here is that the reason why they're missing the point is that this is not at all how new digital native companies are thinking. Let's take, for instance, Google, which is a fairly successful company in this space. What they say is that when they started, they, on purpose, they rejected the traditional management approach. They said, no, we don't want that. We know how we will end. So let's start from first principles. And let's imagine something new from first principles. And the first principles they describe are, one, focus on the user. If we have millions of satisfied users, the rest will follow. Second, let's hire smart people and give them freedom. Freedom to experiment, freedom to find solutions to satisfy the users. And this is the missing element. This is what is not on the radar of most digital transformations, is the people part. Let's dig a bit deeper into what we are meaning. Google describes the profile of what they call a smart creative. It's not someone who spends hours in meetings or who says, oh, okay, this one, who is talking about politics, etc. It's someone, who is really hands-on, who loves users, who loves technology, who is able to do things, to make things with their hands, who understand the business side of the things they're doing. People who are analytic in the sense that these companies rely on facts and data and not on opinions. So they do experiments, so they're trained to think like that. And so the ingredient that is important for the digital transformation is to have this kind of people. But then how do you do that? Because you will find that it's not exactly how you would describe your current organization. So the first idea, the first step then is to say, okay, let's find to hire some. But soon you'll find that it's not so easy to find them on the market. But suppose you find one. Will she want to work with you? Will she want to join a company that is focused on tools and processes? And suppose she comes. How long will she stay when we try to impose processes on her? So you have a kind of chicken and egg problem here. And for me, the key to this is to start from what you have and to find out how you can turn the current organization into an organization of smart creatives. And this is exactly where Lean can help, because we are not the first to try that. For decades, the Lean community has been working on, okay, how can we develop people before developing products? So instead of inventing things again, we can rely on a time-tested approach, which works more or less like this. The first step is to let go of the old model, where I, as a manager, I will give you the solution and I expect that you implement it, and what I expect is compliance in return. What we are looking for and what Lean provides is a new model of managing for creativity, and which is based on two main approaches. The first is, let's communicate with our people in terms of vision. What do we want for our users? How do we create value for them? And what are the hard goals that we want to achieve in 6 months or next year? And on the other hand, give individuals, not groups, individuals, the power and the ability to solve problems to get there and coach them in problem solving. And what we have seen happening in many Lean transformations across industries, across countries, is that this creates a dynamic of frequent incremental improvement. And this is exactly how these digital native companies work, is by having always every single people working on finding ways to solve problems for their customers. So we're talking about velocity. It's not the velocity of large projects that come on the market faster. It's the velocity of small improvements occurring all over the place with this mechanic. I wanted to bring you a gift, and so I have brought you your goals for 2016 so that it's done. You can just take them, they work. You can take that away, go back to your boss and say, oh, I've been working on the plan, blah, 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 okay? So one step would be first to try to better understand your users, have a clear vision in terms of what is the value that you want to create for them. And then you can work on setting clear goals. Let's say, for instance, okay, we want to have a 4.5 customer satisfaction, because I don't know if you buy on Amazon or Booking.com, but it's more or less where you will buy something below that. So you can say, okay, let's try to reach that. A very important and often overlooked source of improvement is your support. support, every support ticket is a time when a customer took the time to educate you, to tell you, okay, I have this problem, please solve it for me. So you don't need, it's nice if you're doing lean startup, etc., but you don't need fancy stuff. You just need to listen to your existing customers to start learning. So you just go and listen to customer calls on the help desk and say, okay, this specific problem, how can I solve it? Okay, it's not about doing a big data thing of analyzing the trends or the support. It's taking every single request and solving it. You can do the same for incidents, defects. And you can also think about how can I measure the fact that the activity for the user is simpler. You can, for instance, measure the time it takes to do an operation and say, okay, let's try to halve that. So that's the first part. And what you will do there is start showing individual problems. And the second step is to start finding people in the organization who will take charge of these problems and start the problem-solving journey to solve it. So the idea is, okay, take an IT guy and bring him to meet the users, to create a relationship with them, to understand the problem, to gather facts, to gather data, to start digging into technical reasons, to work with people around the company to solve the problem, to own the problem, and to put his brains and his heart in the resolution of the problem for a customer. Let's see how it works. So this is a case where the CIO of a very large IT organization, we're talking about thousands of people, have made Lean one of the pillars of his digital transformation. And this CIO has an obsession about customer satisfaction. And he said, we are in the bank, and I know that people in the branches are complaining all the time about IT, so let's go and talk to them, and try to understand what's going on. And so IT people starting to do this a few months ago. And what they saw, for instance, let's take an example. In a branch manager was complaining about the fact that every week he would receive an email saying that the archive, the scans of the contracts that were produced by the branch during the week, they were wrong. So he had to go downstairs, go in the archives, get out the contracts, check the PDF of the scans, and waste about 1 hour, 2 hours a week doing just that. And it was a major pain for him. So in this specific case, someone from IT, someone who was in charge of this scanning and archival topic, took charge of the problem and starting solving it with the coaching on how to do it the lean way. So the IT guy started to go to the branch, get out of the building, go to the branch, understand what was the customer, the user position, what was the business impact of the problem, to understand on specific cases what was happening. And so he started to dig, discovered that there was one team that he didn't know about that was specialized in fixing scanning problems. So there were people who were taking scans all day long and trying to fix, to find data, etc. And he dug deeper. He went to see, okay, why is this happening? So he started drawing hypotheses. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. He started digging more. And what he discovered is that many files were rejected because the scanners were producing a wrong image. The quality of the image was not good enough, because maintenance was not done on the equipment and they were not working properly, because there was a problem in the contract. The maintenance contract didn't talk about the scanner part of the machine. And so he got it fixed. He tried to find what were the other branches that could benefit from the change, and the problem got fixed. The branch manager said that in the 21st years that he had spent in the bank, it was the first time someone from IT actually solved something for him. And he was really, really happy about this. It was for him, it looks like a simple thing, but it's an important change. And what is important here is not to say, okay, it's not another example of solving an IT problem. What is important is the journey of the IT guy who has done this. So for this guy, we're talking about, okay, starting to being user smart, understanding what is the point of the view of the user, starting to understand the business impact of this, starting to dig deeper into technical problems, talking with many people around. So using teamwork, okay, creating new connections within the company. And so the key here is that this problem-solving exercise is the exercise that flexes the smart creative muscles of everyone in the company. So the idea is to create that dynamic where people are constantly solving problems and step by step becoming more and more smart creatives themselves. We have other examples. I took a first example where IT just got out of the building and starting to listen to users. But as I said, you should also start from support. And here we have the example of a team leader in charge of the maintenance team who manages the diverse equipments in the branches. We're another bank. And so there was a problem and a number of tickets trying to reduce the volume of support requests. She found out that a large part was due to a problem with the bill counting machines. And for months, she had thought that it was due to the fact that these stupid users were messing with the equipment. And she was convinced of it. And she said, we need to deploy a training program so that these people start once and for all doing things the right way. And so starting on the lean problem-solving journey, so she went to go and see. She discovered that people were doing things really right. They were doing exactly what was needed. But then digging deeper with the vendor, with the technicians, she found out that certain machines had a hardware problem, and she started to find ways to solve this. Once again, what's important here is the journey, is how this person creates connections with the users, creates connections with other people in the company, and becomes a smart creative. I could go on and on and on like this. The same for starting from incidents and trying to, okay, we have so many incidents, let's try to take them one by one and understand the root cause and solve this, with always the same dynamic. So the important, and for me, the core engine of the digital transformation isn't that much about iPad apps, about agile, like big data. It's true that we need those, and it's a good idea to do them. But for me, the core of the transformation is this one, is to start from the users, to start measuring things, to say, okay, let's find a way to stop ignoring, but taking all the customer feedback and take problems one by one. Once again, no statistical analysis, just take them one by one, find someone who can use this opportunity to do the problem-solving journey. And doing this again and again, you'll see your people change, and we have seen it. And we have, in this United Summit, seen examples of people who have seen this change in people. And what will happen is that in a few months, in a few years, what you'll have your own company of smart creatives. And who knows, maybe in a few weeks, a few months, this is your app that will get all these people busy. Thank you very much.
A really great talk. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I think this is exactly what links the customer giving you advice and having a feedback to you, which we've ignored in the past. and focusing on our internal processes rather than focusing on this journey. I think the key message that I take from this is the tool that creates the journey to change the way people, to turn people into creatives. And I must say this is great story.
Thank you.